Okay, good morning everyone. Today we will discuss about liposomes. Liposome, it is derived from a Greek word that is lipo means fat and some means body. Liposomes were first described by British hematologist Dr. Alec D. Bangham and his colleagues in 1961 at the Barbraham Institute in Cambridge, and subsequently became the most extensively explored drug delivery system. These are microparticulate drug carriers consisting of one or more concentric spheres of lipid bilayer separated by aqueous buffer compartments. When phospholipids are dispersed in water, they spontaneously form closed structures with internal aqueous compartments bounded by phospholipid bilayer membranes. And the diameter generally it varies between 80 nanometer to 100 micrometer. This is the general structure of liposome. We can see these are the hydrophilic heads, and these are the hydrophobic tails, and this is lipid bimembrane. Lipid bilayer is formed in the liposomes, and the water soluble drugs, they are enclosed in this hydrophilic region, and the drug that is water insoluble is carried in the this hydrophobic region, that is in between the lipid bilayer, and the proteins which are acting as a ligand, they are bonded on the surface. They are used for targeting liposome to the particular target site. When phospholipids, they are dispersed in aqueous phase, hydration of polar head groups of lipid results in heterogeneous mixture structure referred to as vesicles, contain multiple lipid bilayer which are referred to as multilamellar vesicles. Sonication of these liposomes results in their size reduction to vesicles containing only a single bilayer with diameter of 25 nanometer to 50 nanometer and are referred to as unilamellar vesicles. Large unilamellar vesicles, they exhibit size range of between 100 to 500 nanometer. This is again the structure of phospholipid molecule. This we can see this is the hydrophilic head or polar head. These are the hydrophobic tails, that is non-polar head. The polar groups are shown as indicated. This is the phosphate group here. Glycerol is also there. These are the bilayers, lipid bilayers. These. Now, mechanism by which liposomes act. There are several mechanisms by which liposome act, which are as follows. Liposomes attach to the plasma membrane and appear to fuse with them, releasing their content into the cell. They are taken up by the cell in some cases, and their phospholipids are incorporated in plasma membrane, by which drug trapped inside is released. In case of phagocytic cell, the liposomes are taken up and the phospholipid walls, they are acted upon by organelles called lysosomes, and the drug is released. Here we can see how the drug is released into the cell. Liposomes comes in contact with the cell or plasma membrane of the cell. Drug is released from the liposomes, and the phospholipids of the liposome, they are incorporated into the cell membrane. Here it is seen. This is the outside of the cell. The phospholipids, they get merged with the phospholipids of the cell membrane, and the drug, it reaches inside the cell. Now, material used in liposome preparation. First are phospholipids, that is glycerol containing phospholipids are commonly used. They are important component of liposome formation, and the most important glycerol phosphatides in plants and animals are phosphatidylcholine and phosphatidylethanolamine. These two are the major structural components of most biological membranes. Fatty acids are also important constituent of glycerol phosphatides, that is triglycerides of fat cells. Then sphingolipids, they contain sphingosine, a related base, as their structural backbone, and they contain three characteristic building blocks: a molecule of fatty acid, a molecule of sphingosine, and head groups that can vary from simple alcohol as choline to very complex carbohydrates. The most abundant sphingolipid in higher animals is sphingomyelin. Then glycosphingolipids. They are found mainly in gray matter of brain tissue of higher animals and are used in major component. They are included in liposome formulation to provide a layer of surface charge groups. Then are sterols, cholesterol and its derivatives. They are quite often included as components of liposomal membrane. Now, what is the function of cholesterol? It can be added to bilayer mixture for the following purposes. First of all, it acts as fluidity buffer. It avoids the tilts and shifts in the membrane structure during phase transition, that is, maintains the ordered membrane structure. Below transition temperature, phospholipids they are pulled apart and packing of head groups is weakened. But above transition temperature, the structure remains rigid. And it also acts as intercalator with phospholipid molecules. It restricts the transformation of trans to gauche conformation, decreases the permeability of membrane to water soluble molecules. Liposomes without cholesterol are known to interact rapidly with plasma proteins like albumin, transferrin, and microglobulins, which leads to physical instability of liposomes. And it is incorporated in high concentration up to 1 ratio 1 to 2 ratio 1 to phosphatidylcholine, that is PC. Then synthetic phospholipids are also used, like saturated phospholipids include dipalmitoyl phosphatidylcholine, dipalmitoyl phosphatidylethanolamine, dipalmitoyl phosphatidylserine, and unsaturated phospholipids have also been used, that is dioleo-phosphatidylcholine and dioleo-phosphatidylglycerol. Then polymeric materials are also incorporated, like variety of polymerizable lipids which can form vesicles. They have been synthesized and they include lipids containing conjugated diene, methacrylate and thiol groups as polymerizable moieties. Now, special consideration which is used for by selection of the lipids. First of all, for non-irritant topical formulation, non-ionic liposomes are there. For localized infection, ionic liposomes. For other systemic application, liposome with covalently attached polymer. For nucleic acid complexation, cationic liposomes that contain large fraction of neutral lipids. Then methods of liposome preparation. First, there are two techniques, that is passive loading techniques and active loading techniques. In passive loading techniques, three methods are used, that is mechanical dispersion method, solvent dispersion method, and detergent removal method, and which is further categorized into various methods. We will study them one by one. First are mechanical dispersion method, in which lipids they dissolve in organic solvent or co-solvent. Then we remove the organic solvent under vacuum and film is formed or film deposits, and the solid lipid mixture is hydrated by using aqueous buffer, and lipids spontaneously swell and hydrates to form liposome. And then mechanical method. In mechanical method, first is film method. In this, the thin lipid films or lipids are casted as cakes of films plus organic solvent. They are and the solvent is removed by film deposition under vacuum. After all the solvent is removed, solid lipid mixture hydrated using aqueous buffer, lipids swell spontaneously and heterogeneous multilamellar vesicles basically formed. This is the basic method. Then the physical dispersion. There are four basic methods of physical dispersion, that is handshaking, non-shaking, freeze dry, and proliposomes. In handshaking method, similarly, the first of all film formation occurs. In this, lipid solution is incorporated in solvent, and then handshaking or rotary flash evaporator is used. Film formation occurs, and then vacuum is applied under nitrogen, and dried film, we get dried film, and film takes dispersed in aqueous phase, and then hydration of this film occurs, liposomal dispersion we get, and this is stored under nitrogen umbrella at 4 plus minus 1 degree Celsius. Limitation is that its encapsulation efficiency is very low. Next are proliposomes. In order to increase the surface area of dried lipid film and to facilitate the instantaneous hydration, the lipid is dried over finely divided particulate support such as powdered NaCl, sorbitol, or polysaccharides. The dried coated particulates are proliposomes. They have improved stability. Then there are various methods for mechanical treatment of MLVs so that we can reduce the size. Multi-lamellar vesicles, we can get unilamellar vesicles. Means small. If we want small liposomes, then there are various mechanical treatments like we can go for microemulsion techniques, extrusion, ultrasonication, and use of French pressure cells. And if we want to increase the entrapment volume or hydrated lipids and reduce the lamellarity, then freeze drying, freeze thawing, or induction of vesicalization by ions or pH change. These are the methods which are used. Now, ultrasonic method is used for the preparation of SUVs, basically small unilamellar vesicles from MLVs, that is multilamellar vesicles, with diameter 15 to 25 micrometer, and it is done with two sonicators, that is probe sonicator. It is used for small volume requiring higher energy, and bath sonicator for large volumes. And probe tip sonicators, they particularly provide high energy but suffer from overheating or liposomal dispersion, which may cause lipid degradation. Sonication tips may release titanium particles which must be removed by centrifugation at 1 lakh gram 3 for 30 minutes and 20 degrees Celsius. Further centrifugation is done at 159,000 gram for 3 to 4 hours to remove the MLVs and titanium particles. The top layer, it contains SUVs. Then microemulsification liposome. It is prepared by microfluidizer which pumps fluid at very high pressure, that is 10,000 psi, through a 5 micrometer orifice, and then it is forced along defined microchannels which direct two streams of fluid to collide together at right angle at a very high velocity. After a single pass, size reduced to about zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 micrometer. Basically, this technique is also used to reduce the size of the prepared liposomes. Then French pressure said this is also used to reduce the size. Basically, it is constructed from stainless steel and is capable of withstanding very high pressures up to 20,000 to 40,000 psi. Then vesicles prepared by extrusion technique. It is used for the preparation of large unilamellar vesicles and multilamellar vesicles, and the size of liposomes is reduced in this by gently passing it through polycarbonate membrane filter or defined pore size at low pressure. You can see from the diagram, this is the inlet, this is liposomal dispersion, this is filter, and then drain, this is after exclusion, this is outlet, and we get the extruded liposomes. Then vesicles prepared exclusion technique. If we uh, the first method is the rehydration method or dry reconstituted vesicles we get by this. Then this freeze drying of dispersion containing SUVs. First of all, SUVs dispersion is freeze dried and then rehydrated with aqueous fluid containing material to be entrapped, and dispersion of solid lipids in finely subdivided form. Then again it is subjected to drying and vesicles formed are then again rehydrated. And liposomes obtained are uni or oligolamellar vesicles 1 micrometer or less. Basically, this technique is also used to reduce the size of the vesicles. Next are dried reconstituted vesicle freeze thaw sonication method. Both are shown in the same diagram. In this SUVs, as you can see, they are dispersed in the aqueous phase. SUVs with solutes to be entrapped, means the drug to be entrapped is then incorporated in the flask, and then freeze drying is done and the membrane. And if we talk about freeze thaw sonication, in this thawing and then sonication is at 15 to 30 seconds, and we get unilamellar vesicles incorporating the drug. And if we go for this dried reconstituted vesicles we want, which was discussed in the previous slide, then we will go for rehydration and film stacks dispersed in aqueous phase, and we will get uni or oligo lamellar vesicles. Then freeze thaw extrusion method is used for encapsulation of mainly proteins, and in this liposomes are formed by film method. They are used. They are vortex with solute to be entrapped until entire film is suspended, and form SUVs dispersion are frozen in lukewarm water and vortexed again, subjected to freeze thaw for 15 minutes, then sonicated, and it ruptures and diffuses SOVs, and liposomes fuse and increase the size. That is large unilamellar vesicles formed by extrusion method. And if you want to get still giant SUVs of 10 to 50 micrometer, the SUVs, they are mixed in salt solution, freeze thawed for several times, followed by dialysis. Next are liposomes, which are formed from preformed vesicles. In this, the pH induced vascularization method is used. In this, the pH or transient change in pH brings about increase in the surface charge of the lipid bilayer, which induces spontaneous vascularization. In this, preformed MLVs are taken, and they are exposed to higher pH by addition of 1 molar NaOH for a period of less than 2 minutes, and then again the pH is reduced to 7.5 by the addition of 0.1 molar HCl, and we get the large unilamellar vesicles. Unilamellar means one lipid layer. Multilamellar means multiple lipid layers are there in one liposome. Then calcium induced fusion. In this, the sonication buffer is basically employed, which contains NaCl, histidine, tribase, and EDTA and water, and pH is maintained at 7.4. In this, we will remove the large particles by centrifugation at 1 lakh gram and add calcium chloride, then incubate it for 60 minutes at 37 degrees Celsius. We will separate the precipitates at 3000 gram for 20 minutes. Then we will add EDTA and incubate at 37 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Then we again incubate it at room temperature for 15 minutes and remove the calcium EDTA complex by dialysing overnight by using phosphate saline buffer. Then cochleate method. In this, we get the cochleates, and in this method the SUV is made from phosphatidyl serine are basically used, and the addition of calcium ions is done. Then we get the cylindrical rolls, or we also call them cochleate cylinders, and calcium removal of calcium is done by this EDTA. Next is solvent dispersion method. In this, lipid are dissolved in organic solvent. Excess addition of aqueous phase is done. Then the formation of monolayer and bilayer of phospholipid occurs, and we get the liposomes. And the two methods are employed according to the solvent use, that is ethanol injection method and ether injection method. In ethanol injection method, lipid is injected rapidly through fine needle into an excess of aqueous medium. And in ether injection method, lipid is injected slowly through fine needle into an excess of aqueous medium. Here you can see ether injection and ethanol injection method. Here lipids in ethanol solution, and the rapid injection is done through the fine needle into the aqueous phase, and we get SUVs. And in this lipids in ether solution, ether injection method, slow injection is done through the fine needle in aqueous phase, and we get the LUVs. Then reverse phase evaporation. It is a method used for the evaporation of large unilamellar or oligolamellar vesicles. It has the ability to encapsulate large macromolecules with higher efficiency. And diethyl ether and isopropyl ether are the two solvents which are generally used. Procedure for reverse phase evaporation. In this, the liquid mixture is placed in round bottom flask, solvent removed under reduced pressure by rotary evaporator, then purged with nitrogen, and lipids are redissolved in organic phase. Then solvent is removed from emulsion by evaporation under reduced pressure, and non-encapsulated material is removed, and liposomes formed are called reverse phase evaporation vesicles. Then rapid solvent exchange vesicles. In this, liquid mixture is transferred between pure solvent and pure aqueous environment, and organic solution of lipids through orifice of syringe under vacuum into a tube containing aqueous phase. The tube is mounted or vortex and it manifests higher entrapment volumes. In this first layer is formed in the first step, and the second step, the second layer is formed. And the drug, it is enclosed in the inner leaflet here. The drug is enclosed. Then is de-emulsification method. It generally the liposome is made up in two steps. First, the inner leaflet of the bilayer, and then the outer leaflet, like in the previous method. In this, the aqueous medium containing material to be entrapped. Then add the immiscible organic solution of the lipid. Then mechanical agitation is done, and microscopic water droplets are formed. Then double emulsion method. In this, the organic solvent is mixed with water droplets with the help of mechanical dispersion, and multi-compartment vesicles are formed. As described over, the water in oil in water system is formed, or double emulsion you can say. And these vesicles, they are suspended in aqueous medium. Then reverse phase evaporation method. In the lipid is dispersed in water, aqueous solution containing the drug. We can take, then we sonicate it, and in rotary evaporator, first of all the emulsion is formed, and then in rotary evaporator we dry down, and organic solution is evaporated in the rotary evaporator. Gel formation occurs. At this stage, the monolayers come close to each other, and some probably form partial bilayer. Then vortexing is done, and due to which the gel collapse, and we get the suspension of LUVs. Then stable plurilamellar vesicles. It involves preparation of water in organic phase, dispersion with an excess of lipid, followed by drying under continued bath sonication with a stream of nitrogen. And the internal SPLV is different from that of MLV RAVs in that they lack a large aqueous core, and the internal environment of both the vesicle is different from each other. And last method is just detergent dispersion. In this, phospholipids and aqueous phase come in contact with the help of detergent. In this, let's see. In this, a drug, it is incorporated in the aqueous phase, and lipid solution is also there, and both the phases are mixed, and by addition of optimized concentration of detergent, and micelles are formed. Below CMC, detergent molecules exist in free solution form as the concentration in micelles are formed. And the size of the liposome shape depends upon the chemical nature of detergent, concentration, and other lipids involved. And dialysis and column chromatography is used to remove the detergents. Now, active or remote loading. Now, earlier we have seen that a drug is loaded while the formation of the vesicles or liposomes, and that is passive loading. In active or remote loading, the lipid bilayer membrane is impermeable to ions and hydrophilic molecules, but permeation of hydrophobic molecules can be controlled by concentration gradient. Some weak acids or bases can be transported due to various transmembrane gradients like electrical gradients, ionic gradients, chemical potential gradients. Weak amphiphilic bases accumulate in aqueous phase of the lipid vesicles in response to difference in pH between inside and outside of the liposomes. Here we can see that solute, in this the pH gradient is created by preparing liposomes with low internal pH, addition of base to extra liposomal medium, then basic compounds at higher pH and hydrophilic at lower pH. Lipophilic drug diffuses through the bilayer. At low pH side, the molecules are predominantly protonated and exchange of external medium by gel extrusion chromatography with neutral solution. Weak bases like doxorubicin, adriamycin, vincristine, basically they are incorporated. In this, the drug is loaded after the formation of liposomes. Now, locus of drugs in the liposomes. Here we can see. Now, hydrophilic drug. Basically, its entrapment is low, leakage is there, and hydrolytic degradation may occur. It is entrapped inside here. And lipophilic molecules, they have high entrapment, low leaking, and chemical stability is also grouped. They are entrapped here between the lipid bilayer. Amphiphilic, high entrapment, rapid leakage. They are entrapped here somewhere. Then biphasic insoluble molecules. Poor loading and entrapment is also here. There, they are here. Then methods of controlling the particle size and size distribution. Basically, different methods are used to control the particle size. There are fractionation, homogenization, capillary pore membrane extrusion. Centrifugation is basically used to control the size and density. Disadvantages: the liposomes smaller than zero point 0.5 micrometer tend to require higher forces and long spinning times. In size exclusion chromatography, it is particularly used for separation of small and unilamellar vesicles from large structures. And homogenization, by using high pressure homogenizations like microfluid, particle size can be reduced. Capillary pore membrane or extrusion, widespread and simple technique for the production of defined and narrow sized liposomes. And in this, basically, membranes like we have discussed earlier, that polycarbonate membranes may be used under reduced pressures. Then characterization of liposomes. Various parameters are there for the characterization of liposomes, as you can see. Internal volume and encapsulation efficiency is also there. And the parameters depend upon liposomal content, lipid concentration, and method of preparation. Then characterization. First of all, biological characterization. In this sterility, we check it with the help of anaerobic and aerobic cultures. Then pyrogenicity by rapid fever response method. Animal toxicity by monitoring the survival of rats. Basically, we use animals, rats. Then characterization parameters, chemical characterization. In this, first phospholipid concentration by HPLC and Bartlett assay. Cholesterol concentration by HPLC, cholesterol or cholesterol oxide assay. The drug concentration by assay method. Antioxidant degradation by HPLC and TLC. We measure the pH with the help of pH meter. Osmolarity by osmometer. Then phospholipids hydrolysis by HPLC and TLC. Then cholesterol oxidation by HPLC TLC. Phospholipids oxidation by UV absorbance. Then vesicle shape and surface morphology with the help of TEM and SEM, that is transmission electron microscopy and scanning electron microscopy. Then vesicle size and size distribution by dynamic light scattering and TEM. Then surface charge by free flow electrophoresis. Electrical surface potential and surface pH with the help of zeta potential measurement and pH sensitive probes. Lamellarity by P32 NMR. Then a percent capture, minimum column, mini column centrifugation and gel extrusion techniques are used. And for drug release, diffusion cells are basically used, or dialysis you can use. Now, applications of liposomes. They are used in respiratory drug delivery system for isoniazid, rifampicin, then cyclosporins also. They are also used as vaccine adjuvants in case of rabies, glycoproteins, and like cholera toxin also, they enhance the antibody level. Then in brain targeting also they are useful, and they are also used in anti-infective gene agents. The active targeting approach is basically used for pentamidine and annamycin for leishmanias, and passive targeting is used for gentamicin for staphylococcal pneumoniasis. Then tumor therapy also they are very useful. Doxorubicin for targeting doxorubicin and vincristine. Conclusion is that during the last year, liposomes they are very important pharmaceutical carriers and have received a lot of attention. The new developments in liposomes is a continuous process which helps for better targeting with less toxicity. And some commercially available liposomes in market are like milkazome, donaxome, and verteporfin. These are the references. Thank you.